Item 9G is also an LCP amendment, the last one of the day. This is a minor amendment determination for a Santa Cruz County LCP amendment to deal with wells and groundwater protection. The amendment proposes various refinements and improvements, in our view, to LCP Chapter 7.70 to deal with various groundwater issues. I understand we do have a public speaker here today who wants to address one of the issues implicated by the amendment, which is on page 2. One of the specific amendments that is being proposed is to modify current wording in the LCP that would provide the Board of Supervisors additional discretion to declare a groundwater emergency, depending on whether adequate actions are being taken to alleviate an overdraft condition. And I believe there's somebody who wants to speak today about the overdraft issue in southern Santa Cruz County. There's also a number of documents that he has submitted that are in your district director's report. You also should have received a DVD addressing his concerns in your packet. And that DVD was also previously provided to you a year or so ago when he requested that we pass that out. So notwithstanding the concerns, which I can speak to more after if the Commission would like, we do believe that the amendment qualifies as a minor LCP amendment, and we are requesting the concurrence with the Executive Director's determination that it is a minor amendment.
All right, thank you, staff. Let me first ask if there are any ex parte communications on this item, starting on my left. Seeing none. Anybody on the right? Okay, we do have Mr. Riker from the County of Santa Cruz. He's here to answer questions only, but we do have Douglas Deitch, who would like to address the Commission, and we give you some time now, Mr. Deitch, if you'd like to come forward. We'll give you 3 minutes.
May I request 5 minutes, please?
Okay, carry on.
Okay.
Name for the record, please.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here before you today. First, I wanted to confirm that you have
Could I get your name for the record?
Excuse me. Douglas Deitch, Executive Director, Monterey Bay Conservancy. It's a 501c3. I call it a water policy think tank. I first wanted to confirm with you that this DVD you've received today, I also, around 2 years ago, delivered to you to bring this issue to the Commission's attention and the local staff's attention. What I contend is the intentional non-compliance with the local coastal plan in regards to the requirement that was established in the County of Santa Cruz by Gary Patton when he was a Board of Supervisor in 1987 to create a ministerial duty, a higher duty than is under the state constitution, to require as a ministerial duty, non-discretionary, that the Board of Supervisors declare a groundwater emergency when 3 basic objective tests are met. Today, I've also characterized what's going on in terms of our water use and as a Waterbury Ponzi scheme. Maybe it's appropriate today that Bernie Madoff is in New York and answering for his Ponzi scheme. Another thing I'd like to say, too, is that anything I have to say, some people, I've been doing this for 15 years, and I've run for supervisor 4 times. I filed 2 grand jury complaints on this, 2 lawsuits. My attempt 2 years ago was to basically get the coastal local staff to weigh in on this because, as I say, there's been an intentional non-compliance of the law. The first thing that I objected to was the description of this in your materials there, and I could go, I have extensive exhibits, but the term greater discretion to determine a groundwater emergency. The law was set up with no discretion. A ministerial duty has no discretion. Your approval, and also, the only thing I would like you to, my 2 requests today are that, specifically, 1, you do not approve the additional language that changes the nature of this duty to a discretionary duty, or a discretionary option, as the state constitution already provides. And your addition of this language will do that. So I'm asking that you just pull that item, that 1 additional language from this, and I have no problems with the rest of it other than the language in the purpose provision, which also deals with this adequate measures are being taken as a subjective standard. And that basically that you consider enforcement provisions against the County of Santa Cruz for their intentional non-compliance with this duty. Every year, I have some slides. Can you go to the next slide? These are all come from the LAFCO study done in 2005. This is our water area. The top area there in the whole Monterey Bay, the top area, that 15K, that's the amount of groundwater resource lost in the Pajaro Basin. That other circled area below is the other area of the Monterey Bay, the Salinas Valley. In that whole area there, you're only losing 9,000 acre feet a year with around a $4 billion production. In the Pajaro area, where a quarter of the country's berries are grown, we're losing 15,000 acre feet a year, 200% overdraft of our groundwaters. You're going to be considering some desalinization plants. That amount every year of our area, in the Pajaro area, you'd have to build 7 $100 million desal plants every year and operate them full time to keep up the amount of water, which is basically being exported and expropriated in the form of berry product, which uses 90% of the water, 200% overdraft. That's that area. This area where we're standing, which is basically the Salinas Valley, is only losing 9,000 to 13,000 acre feet. So for this area, what you'd have to do is basically that desal plant you'll be considering here, you'd have to build one of those every year. So our problem here is that we're not following the law, and we have exceeded what is a reasonable agricultural carrying capacity. That's never even thought about. We are the, please go to the next slide. The next slide, this is the Pajaro area more specifically defined. To the north, you can see the Soquel Creek Water District. Really, Soquel Creek and Pajaro share groundwater together. In 5 minutes, I won't be able to go all through this, but I'd be happy to respond to questions. Next slide, please. If you turn this the other way, this is a report that was just done for the potential groundwater emergency that was considered in the last fall. And what happened in that particular instance is that and John Ricker's here to answer this question for you, they have already considered the groundwater emergency again last fall, but what they did was they included the new language that you haven't even approved yet, and that was the language they distributed, which is a discretionary option, and you had city council members from Watsonville who were testifying against the groundwater emergency. Next slide, please. Oh, also, excuse me, on that slide there, on that slide, you won't be able to see, they have the ranges here.
How many more slides do you have, sir? Because your 5 minutes is up.
Okay, well,
Just a couple?
One other thing, please go forward. I wanted to, no, we don't have to deal with it. I want to deal with the map here. That there indicates, substantiates what the groundwater loss in the Salinas Valley is. One more slide, please. I want to get to the map to point this out. This here, we are the only area in California that are only dependent on our own groundwater. We have no Sierra water, Colorado water, Central Project water. We're losing that every year at an incredible rate. This is a coastal resource. I'm here today because I was noticed that this is a coastal plan amendment, that there's proper jurisdiction, and Mr. Lester says this isn't the proper vehicle. I've tried everyone. I need your help to keep this law active so we can still try to balance our water here. Thank you very much. Any questions, I'd be happy.
All right, we'll see. Thank you so much. And then from the County of Santa Cruz, Mr. Riker, did you wish to address the commission or rebut? And how much time would you like for that?
Oh, I'd say just a couple of minutes would be fine.
Okay, we'll give you 2.
I'm John Ricker. I'm the Water Resources Division Director with Santa Cruz County Environmental Health Service. We support the staff recommendation. We've worked with our well drillers, our water agencies, and our concerned citizens to put together what we think is a set of measures that will provide better groundwater protection and more effective implementation of the ordinance. We concur with Mr. Deitch on the severity of the overdraft problem in southern Santa Cruz County. The ability to declare a groundwater emergency has been considered and is still being considered. However, we feel that's sort of a blunt and somewhat inefficient tool to address the emergency. We have a number of other methods to address the overdraft. The county has been working very closely to support and encourage the work of the Pajaro Valley Water Management Agency, which is the agency that does have more clear authority and clear powers to address the problem. We're also looking at things that we can do ourselves to encourage and require more water conservation, both at a residential and an agricultural level. So we do concur with the problem, and we are doing quite a bit to address it. We feel that the ordinance amendments are appropriate and concur with your staff's recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let's go back to the staff for any additional comments.
I think Mr. Ricker covered most of our concerns. I mean, we do agree that there's a problem, and I did say to Mr. Deitch that we didn't believe this LCP amendment was the proper vehicle for this commission to be dealing with that, particularly with respect to the declaring of a water emergency. That said, we, as you know, often look at the question of whether there's adequate water available for new development, which is our mandate under the Coastal Act, and we have been doing that in this situation, including working with the Pajaro Valley Management Water Agency with various efforts they are taking on to try to address the overdraft problem, including this commission approving a recycled water project in the last several years to help deal with that overdraft problem. So we believe that the most effective role that this commission can play at this point is to continue working with the county and the Water Management Agency on planning approaches, management planning approaches to deal with the problem. And we will continue to be looking at new development that may be proposed that raises a groundwater issue, and we have not seen that type of development in this area. So that's one of the reasons it hasn't come to you in that form.
All right, thank you, staff. Let me just point out that the executive director has determined that the proposed LCP amendment is minor, and let me look to the commission to see if there's any objection to concurrence with the executive director's determination. See none, the commission concurs.